Recently, there was a case in the UK when the Chinese hackers leaked approximately 270,000 pieces of personal data from the British military. The leaked information includes salary data, names, bank details, and addresses of both reservists and active duty personnel. Among those affected was the Conservative MP Bob Seeley, a reservist, who said, "It's a bit disconcerting to know that your bank details and national insurance number are flying off to Beijing or whatever." Hi everyone, this is Stan, your favorite Polish Taiwan YouTuber. Hope you're having a great day. Welcome to today's show. The soon-to-be-released Taiwanese drama Zero-Day Attack starts with the imminent outbreak of war in the Taiwan Strait. The drama portrays the various reactions of ordinary citizens under attack. In addition to the terrifying atmosphere of war, it highlights the frontline soldiers defending the country, the ordinary people fleeing to escape the conflict, and the long-standing red infiltration and cognitive warfare by hostile forces within Taiwan. Actually, zero-day attack or zero-day vulnerability is also a term for a type of a hacker attack. Recently, there was a case in the UK when the Chinese hackers leaked approximately 270,000 pieces of personal data from the British military. The leaked information includes salary data, names, bank details, and addresses of both reservists and active duty personnel. Among those affected was the Conservative MP Bob Seeley, a reservist, who said, "It's a bit disconcerting to know that your bank details and national insurance number are flying off to Beijing or whatever." Other potentially affected individuals include the Deputy Secretary of Defense, Andrew Morrison, who served as a Royal Navy Surgeon Commander. Currently, the intelligence agencies like Government Communication Headquarters, GCHQ, and National Cybersecurity Center, NCSC, are involved in the investigation. It is understood that the hackers had been lurking in the system for some time. Naturally, the Chinese government denies it was an official hacking operation. A spokesperson for the Chinese embassy in London stated, "We urge relevant British parties to stop spreading false information, stop concocting the so-called China threat theory, and stop the anti-China political force." Personally, I find it quite suspicious. The hacking attack is a fact, and the British government is demanding an explanation from the Chinese government. Why is this being labeled as anti-China? There is no racial issue involved in this case, so why bring up anti-China sentiments? Is the Chinese government using accusations of racial discrimination to evade all the British government's inquiries because Chinese hackers did something wrong? Doesn't this approach raise even more suspicion? Moreover, this isn't the first time the British government has been attacked by the Chinese hackers. In August 2021, the UK Electoral Commission was attacked, and the hackers obtained a copy of the electoral register and infiltrated the email and control systems of the commission. British MPs who criticize Beijing have been prime targets of their attacks. Recently, the UK completed a change in its political leadership, with the Labour Party becoming the ruling party. They have expressed high vigilance regarding the threat from China. Previously, it was thought that the left-leaning parties are the key target for China's infiltration and that they would deliberately avoid certain issues related to China. However, it now appears that the Labour Party intends to continue the Conservative Party's approach towards China. Additionally, the former NATO Secretary General and the current head of the UK Strategic Defence Review, Lord George Robertson, has publicly warned China is one of the countries posing a deadly threat to the UK. The Financial Times also quoted Lord Robertson, "We're facing a deadly quartet of nations, which are increasingly united in their cooperation." The four countries are China, Russia, Iran, and North Korea. In recent years, China has not imposed any sanctions on Russia for its invasion in Ukraine, unlike other democratic countries. Instead, China has issued multiple joint statements with Russia, declaring that China-Russia strategic cooperation has no limits, no forbidden zones, and no ceiling. Similarly, China has not joined in condemning Iran for its attacks on Israel. The Japanese journalist and analyst Akio Yaita wrote that the Chinese Communist Party recently convened a meeting with Hamas and Fatah, the two major Islamic organizations in Palestine, along with 12 other groups. They issued the so-called Beijing Declaration, which ostensibly aimed to mediate the conflict between Israel and Palestine. However, the real intention was to weaken the influence of Israel and the United States in the Middle East. The CCP CCP has long funded Palestinian terrorist organizations. If it truly wanted to mediate, it could have intervened during the early stages of the conflict. Instead, the CCP acted only after Hamas attacked Israel, and Israel began its comprehensive retaliation, further involving another Palestinian organization, Fatah. Hamas and Fatah have been long-standing adversaries, which complicates the overall situation on the battlefield. At the same time, China's covert support of Russia's invasion of Ukraine has become an open secret, encompassing economic aid, military supplies, and cognitive warfare on Chinese social media platforms. Recently, China invited Ukraine's foreign minister for a visit, possibly recognizing the Western country's dwindling military support and the intensifying rhetoric during the US presidential election, coupled with Ukraine's long-standing war fatigue. Even though Ukrainians are aware that China is Russia's strongest backer, China is leveraging the European countries and Ukraine's urgent desire to end the conflict by applying pressure, as well as making threats against those democratic countries. China aims to expand its influence over other nations in the power vacuum created by the current US political situation. Meanwhile, in Taiwan, national security agencies have indicated that there are at least 4,000 to 5,000 individuals acting as China's fifth column. This group includes Chinese nationals living in Taiwan, Chinese spouses, gang members, and individuals from specific organizations. These people are expected to cooperate with China from within Taiwan before any military conflict or invasion by China. Taiwanese legislator Puma Shan further stated that it's not only the 5,000 people Taiwan has to worry about, and there are some high-risk groups of people. In the event of war, the number of these high-risk groups could reach up to 100,000. These individuals may not necessarily be the Chinese nationals. Even Taiwanese citizens could potentially work for the Chinese government. Such individuals can be found in the legislative yuan, local temples, and criminal gangs. Therefore, national security agencies should establish relevant risk assessment standards for these groups. On June 12, National Security Bureau Director Tsai Ming-yuan stated that since last year, 81 cases of Chinese espionage have been investigated, with 39 cases being prosecuted. Additionally, as of the end of April, the number of individuals whose whereabouts are known after arriving in Taiwan from China is approximately 1,388. This represents an increase compared to past investigations and indicates that Chinese espionage activities within Taiwan are becoming increasingly rampant. It is widely known that those CCP assets employ a variety of tactics to attack Taiwan, not limited to military threats and intelligence gathering. Other methods include conducting cognitive warfare and launching cyberattacks. As mentioned at the beginning of this video, zero-day attack is one such method. Specifically, Chinese hackers exploit vulnerabilities in critical national infrastructures such as CPC Corporation, which is Taiwan Petroleum, Taiwan Water Corporation, Taipower, hospitals, science parks, and telecommunications to paralyze operations, causing psychological panic and chaos among the public. This is often accompanied by cognitive warfare carried out by local pro-China media and key opinion leaders, amplifying fear and dissatisfaction with the government. Furthermore, the CCP utilizes long-term bribery and strategic placement of foreign influencers to manipulate anti-war public opinion, aiming to hinder international military support for Taiwan. In previous videos, I have covered topics such as foreign CCP shills or like foreign Wu-Maos, and I've been talking about think tank investigations into how Chinese media companies bribe journalists and YouTubers to promote China's narrative framework. These narratives include propaganda that Taiwan is an inseparable part of China or efforts to smear Taiwan's reputation. In addition, the Chinese Communist Party continues its repression of Chinese pro-democracy activists and students abroad. Remember that on April 20th of this year, Chinese ambassador to the United States, Xie Feng, was confronted by 4 students from Taiwan and Tibet during a speech at Harvard's Kennedy School. These students condemned the CCP's actions in Tibet and Xinjiang, its deprivation of freedom in Hong Kong, and its military threats against Taiwan. The protesting students were forcibly removed by other Chinese students present at the event. Subsequently, they were followed and stalked by Chinese students who even attempted to obtain the names of the protesters, causing significant fear. On July 1st, US Congressman John Mulinar, chairman of the US-China Strategic Competition Special Committee, requested that Harvard University's acting president Alan Garber address concerns regarding the CCP's transnational repression of students. Mulinar asked Garber to respond by July 26th. In this letter, Mulinar noted that at least 150 universities in the US have Chinese Students and Scholars Associations, CSSAs. These associations are organized and supervised by the CCP's United Front Work Department and receive funding from the Chinese overseas embassies. It is believed that the CSSA members have harassed and intimidated Chinese students who criticize the Chinese government. At the same time, Canada has begun taking actions against the CCP's overseas 110 operations. According to Bloomberg, Canadian police have mapped out the locations of all the CCP secret police stations within Canada. While it is well known that the Chinese infiltration in Canada is severe, there has been significant progress in the past 6 months, including the initiation of public investigations and the passage of the Foreign Interference Act, which is Bill C-70. From the above situations, we can see that the CCP has not ceased its external expansion efforts due to economic factors. In fact, it is actively using the chaos in various spheres worldwide, and they're infiltrating into democratic camps to enhance its influence. These actions may also reflect a shift in the CCP-led authoritarian alliance from the previous expansion model focused primarily on economic interests to a new strategy where military threats combined with psychological warfare are now the new main tools of expansionism. Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, please press like, subscribe and share. This is Stan. I see you in the next one. Bye bye.